Buckle up, everybody, because we're diving deep today. We're talking about something that might sound a little, well, technical at first. But trust me, it's juicy. It's all about encryption. You know those secret codes we used as kids?
Oh yeah, invisible ink, all that.
Exactly. Turns out the grown-up version of secret codes, that's encryption, and it's shaping up to be a big deal.
Huge.
For this deep dive, we've got our hands on this super interesting document straight out of Germany.
Straight from the source.
And get this, it's all about laying down some legal rights, specifically for encryption. It's like they're trying to build a fortress around our digital lives, you know? But is that a good thing?
Duh.
Let's crack this thing open.
Let's do it.
So what's really got my attention is Germany seems to be taking this really bold stance,
Yeah.
you know? This document, it's not just about keeping up with technology as it is now. It's like they're setting the rules for the future of digital privacy. And honestly, that affects all of us, not just those living in Germany.
It's a global thing, absolutely. What's really striking about this document is it's so forward-thinking. Germany's really trying to be a leader in this space. And, you know, in a world where our lives are increasingly digital.
Oh, you're practically live online.
Exactly. This kind of legal framework, it could be a game changer for how we think about privacy and security. It's like they're saying, hey, the digital world needs its own set of rules.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty. This document, it lays out something called the right to encryption, and it's broken down into these different sections. And the first one, it's kind of a bombshell, right? It's basically saying we have the right to encrypt everything. Data, messages, online stuff, offline stuff, you name it, they want to see it protected. No exceptions.
Yeah, they're not messing around. And what's interesting is how they frame it. Section 1 of the document actually draws this clever parallel to the traditional concept of postal secrecy.
Oh yeah, like nobody could just open your mail and read it, right?
Precisely. Back in the day, your letters, they were considered private. You had that expectation of privacy. And so this document, it's saying, hey, why shouldn't the same principle apply to our digital communications?
Makes sense to me. A digital envelope should be just as tamper-proof as a paper one.
Exactly. And they don't stop there. They take it a step further. They introduce this concept of freedom of expression in code, which is, well, it's pretty radical.
It sounds intense.
Right. Section 2 is where things get super interesting. They're basically arguing that code, the language of computers, should be protected as a form of expression, just like writing a book or giving a speech.
Whoa, so you're saying that writing an app, let's say an app that encrypts messages, that could be considered as protected speech.
Exactly. It's this whole new way of looking at censorship in the digital age. Imagine if governments could dictate what kind of apps we're allowed to build or use, especially when it comes to security and privacy. That's a slippery slope.
It really makes you think about who's really in control of what we can say and do online, huh? Okay, this next one, I have a feeling it's going to be a bit controversial. The no backdoors rule.
Yeah, this one definitely gets people talking. Section 7 of the document is very clear. No government-mandated backdoors, period.
Period. Strong stance.
It is. It directly challenges this whole ongoing debate about whether law enforcement should have special access to encrypted data, even if they have a warrant. You know, on one hand, you have people saying, hey, we need this access to catch criminals and prevent terrorism. But on the other hand,
You have people saying, hold on, if you create a backdoor, anyone could exploit it. Hackers, foreign governments, who knows?
Precisely. It's this constant push and pull between privacy and security. And this document, it forces us to confront those trade-offs. It says, look, encryption is vital for protecting our digital lives. We can't just weaken it for the sake of surveillance.
So where do you draw the line? Where does privacy end and security begin? I mean, that's the million-dollar question, right?
It really is. And it's not an easy one to answer. But that's why this document is so thought-provoking. It pushes us to grapple with these really complex issues.
It's definitely got us thinking, that's for sure. And speaking of thought-provoking, let's talk about this whole encryption neutrality thing. This sounds like it could be a game changer.
And it could be. Section 8 basically lays out this principle that you should have the freedom to choose how you protect your data. Think about it like choosing your phone company.
Right. I want to go with the one that offers the best service and the best price.
Exactly. Same idea here. You should have the freedom to pick the encryption tools that offer you the best security and privacy without anyone forcing you to use a specific platform or type of encryption. It's about putting the power in the hands of individuals.
No more shady practices or hidden algorithms.
Right. Transparency is key.
I like it. Okay, but let's get real for a sec. What about people dealing with super sensitive information, like doctors, lawyers, therapists, you know? Do they get special consideration in this whole encryption thing?
They do. They absolutely do. Section 5 specifically addresses those professions where confidentiality is paramount. It gives them the right to use highly secure, independent encryption systems.
So it's like their own digital vault, totally under their control.
Exactly. They could even operate their own servers if they wanted to, keeping their data completely separate from any third parties. And this is particularly important because, think about it, their clients are entrusting them with some of their most personal and sensitive information.
Medical records, legal strategies, therapy sessions, yeah, that's got to be locked down tight.
Absolutely. And this right to know provision in Section 15 reinforces that. It guarantees that you, as a user, have the right to know exactly what kind of encryption technology is being used to protect your data. No more mystery algorithms or hidden backdoors. It's all about transparency and informed consent.
So I'm getting the feeling that transparency is a big theme in this whole document, huh? Like, no more hiding behind complex tech jargon, just clear, straightforward information about how our data is being protected.
Absolutely. This document is really trying to empower individuals by giving them the knowledge they need to make informed decisions about their digital security and privacy. It's saying, look, encryption isn't just for tech experts, it's for everyone.
Okay, so we got to talk about the elephant in the room here. Quantum computers. They're this super powerful tech that, well, it could potentially crack a lot of the encryption we rely on today. And this document actually addresses that, right?
Yeah, you're right. Section 16 specifically acknowledges that quantum computers pose a potential threat to our current encryption methods. It's almost like they're looking into a crystal ball and saying, hey, what we have now might not be enough in the future.
It's like they're saying the future's coming and we got to be ready for it.
Exactly. And that's why they're calling for specific laws and regulations to address quantum-resistant encryption. Basically, they're saying, let's start thinking about how we can stay ahead of the curve and protect ourselves from these emerging technologies.
That's some seriously forward thinking. I mean,
Right.
quantum computers still feel like something out of Star Trek to me. But
Yeah.
hey, it's cool that they're already planning for it. So big picture, what's the main message of this whole document? What's the takeaway for our listeners?
Well, I think this German proposal is like a blueprint, almost a manifesto for a future where encryption is considered a fundamental right, like a basic human right in the digital age. It's pushing back against government overreach, advocating for individual control, and looking ahead to the challenges of new technology like quantum computing. It's saying that in this increasingly digital world, we need strong encryption to protect our privacy, our security, and ultimately our freedom.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. Makes you think, huh? So here's a question for all of you listening. If this right to encryption actually became law worldwide, what would it mean for your life? Would you feel safer, more in control of your information? Or would you worry about potential downsides? Unintended consequences? It's a complex issue with a lot of different angles, and we've only just scratched the surface here today. But hey, that's what these deep dives are all about, getting you thinking, sparking your curiosity, and encouraging you to keep exploring. So go ahead, do your own research, read more about this proposed law, and decide for yourself. What does the future of privacy look like in a digital world? That's something worth thinking about, folks.